So January 14th, it was predicted that the US was going to strike Iran. January 14th came and went, and that did not happen. And apparently, Donald Trump seems like he got a little nervous and decided not to do it. What all went into that? First, let's start with the things that were giving us alarms that they were going to try to strike Iran. The big thing that stood out to me is that Benjamin Netanyahu once again had his plane in Greece. Same thing that happened last time the US and Israel decided to strike Iran. Let's go ahead and get into this video here. Again, all of us were watching this just about 48 hours ago that something big was about to happen. We were all paying attention. Listen to Mo here.
Hey everyone. So some shit is about to go down in Iran. Mark my words. Netanyahu's plane just landed in Greece, and this is the same shit he did the last 3 times Israel bombed Iran. Also, it has been confirmed that 8 KC-135 Stratotanker fighter jets have landed in Hawaii coming from the United States, while 2 KC-135R tankers departed Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam, heading toward Asia, possibly toward Diego Garcia, which is the base previously used by the United States during strikes on Iran. And the U.S. is now currently relocating their personnel from its major bases in the Middle East. The U.S. and Israel are currently lying about 20,000 people being killed by protesters to manufacture consent to bomb Iran. And the sources around this 12,000 and 20,000 civilian death toll number are coming directly from the U.S. CIA and the Israeli Mossad, to which...
Yes. That was another one that we were noticing. The numbers continued to change. It went from like 100 to 500 to 10,000 to 12,000 to 20,000. Like they were escalating those numbers on purpose.
The Zionist Western news media is falsely relaying and replaying on a loop to get you all to be okay with what's about to happen. The fact of the matter is, much of the death in Iran the past few days have been done by terrorists planted within Iran to sow hate and division and encourage violence in the region. Terrorists called the Mossad. And now, like clockwork, Western leaders like this little bitch are acting like they give a shit about Iranians and their human rights when they didn't give a shit about Iranians and their human rights when they were killed by several unprovoked Israeli and U.S. attacks.
You better preach tonight. You better tell it. All of a sudden, all these leaders that were coming forward, oh my God, the people of Iran, we feel so bad about them. Oh my God, protect them, save them. It was a coordinated PR effort, right?
And you've got U.S. elected officials bought by Israeli lobby money, like these little bitches, openly saying to bomb Iran and Tehran right now. And this is exactly why the Free Iran movement, as we see it currently at this very day, is a Zionist-driven movement meant to villainize Islam as a whole. I'm not saying that the people of Iran don't deserve to be free of tyranny, because they do, inclusive of and predominantly the Muslim Iranian population. But the Free Iran movement we are seeing today, that Western leaders are jumping on the bandwagon for, is a Zionist-run movement meant for a regime change that will destabilize and further dehumanize the Muslims in the region in order to prop up Israel and give them even more power.
Bingo. So he said that's so great. And let me just chime in here for a little bit. This is what I think. I'm going to put it as plainly as possible. The people who are cheering this on, who are saying, yay, let the U.S. come in and do the regime change and save us, they are doing the bidding of Israel. That is exactly what Israel wants to happen. Now, we talked about this before on the show with Professor Morandi and also with others as well. Yes, there are protests in Iran. There were protests against the regime. There were also protests for the regime. What we noticed with mainstream media is that they didn't show you the protests for the regime. And regardless if you support the regime or not, it is not up to Israel or the United States government to come into another country and tell them that their leaders should be overthrown. And we have seen how this turns out disastrously time and time again, whether it was Libya, whether it was, Iraq, whether it was Syria more recently. This is not going to be a win for the people when they overthrow your leader. Israel will come in, they'll install a Western puppet that they want, and things will be worse off for you than you feel they are today. So I think the problem that I have noticed is too many people that know better are pretending like they don't, including some that are progressives. I actually saw some progressives online cheering this on. And I'm like, didn't you learn from when you cheered on regime change in Syria? And now you're cheering on the US to do regime change in Iran is exactly what Israel wants. Remember, they have many tools up their sleeves. So all of those pieces were moving at that point in time. Then the foreign minister of Iran was on Fox News. I was surprised he was actually on there, to be honest. And he was explaining that the chaos that was happening were Israeli agents. Listen to this.
For one reason, they wanted to increase the number of deaths. Why? Because President Trump has said that if there are killings, he would intervene. And they wanted to drag him into this conflict. And that was exactly an Israeli plot. They wanted to drag the President of the United States in this conflict. So they started to increase the number of deaths by killing ordinary people, by killing police officers, by starting a kind of, fighting inside the different cities.
Mr. Foreign Minister, you're saying that these killings, these deaths are at the hands of foreign elements inside your country, not by the Iranian regime. That's not what we're being told when we get people to talk to us on the ground. The internet has been shut off, but occasionally turns back on. And we do hear from people on the ground who tell us various stories. Witnesses spoke of seeing snipers positioned on rooftops in downtown Tehran, firing into crowds of peaceful protests, turning abruptly into scenes of carnage, panic as bullets pierced through people's heads and torsos.
Snipers. So who do you think those people are? Okay. Who do you think those people are that are the snipers? You think that's just everyday, ordinary people? No, it's people who are trained. But again, Fox News, CNN, MS Now, they are never going to tell you the position that I'm telling you, even if they do know the truth, right? You got to remember who owns those networks and the narrative that they want. These networks just repeat the State Department talking points. So whatever the State Department puts out, that's what they report. They're not trying to do any real investigative journalism. These are the same people who denied there was a genocide happening for years. For years, they denied there was a genocide happening. So you always got to question their narrative. You can have your issues with the regime, but that doesn't mean that the U.S. government or Israel should come in and overthrow the leader and take over. And what was really weird is I saw incredibly smart people who, like I said, know better, who were cheering this on. And I mean academics who were cheering it on. You can even see the play here with Polymarket. Again, shout out to Gen X Girl. She's brilliant. A Polymarket sponsored influencer who wishes to remain anonymous confirmed to me Polymarket is asking influencers to push Iran regime change. So do you see, follow the money, guys, right? Polymarket posted 29 anti-Iran posts in 72 hours. Zionist billionaire funded. Israel admits orchestrating Iranian riots. Pompeo confirmed that Mossad was involved. And even though all of these things were out there in the open, people still refuse to believe that this is what Israel wants. So an example here, hold on, let me unmute that or mute that. An example here, Polymarket sharing this. Just in, Iran's supreme leader projected to be overthrown as odds hit record 60% high. Polymarket. You can see some more here. She's showing you all the different posts that they had here. So look what they got Polymarket pushing regime change. So do you see how they get all these different companies to push the narrative that they want? There it is, over and over and over again. And some of these videos weren't even what they said they were. But of course, Elon doesn't check any of this stuff. He hypes up the things that are incorrect or what Donald Trump wants to increase in the algorithm. But the strike didn't happen. As we were sitting there waiting on January 14th, that attack did not happen. And here's one of the reasons why. It appears the Gulf states pushed back on Donald Trump. And what this shows me is that when they want to come together, they can. You can see it here from The Guardian. Gulf states and Turkey warned Trump strikes on Iran could lead to a major conflict. So they came together, and the they is Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey, Oman, All of them urged Donald Trump not to launch airstrikes against Iran in a last-minute lobbying campaign prompted by fears that an attack by Washington would lead to a major and intractable conflict across the Middle East. So there were discussions here with Saudi Arabian foreign minister and others that pushed back on the president and said, no, do not attack Iran. So that tells you again that when they want to come together, they can. And they could have done the same thing for Gaza. Donald Trump announced it here that he changed his mind. Listen to this.
We've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping. It's stopped. It's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it.
How convenient that now all of a sudden they say, oh, well, the killing has stopped in Iran after there wasn't the support of the other Arab nations for wanting that to happen. Saudi Arabia had put out a statement and said, do not use their airspace for conflict, right? So how convenient. Oh, okay. So the Mossad agents, they can stop now. Come on, people, come on, you got to put the 2 and 2 together there. And something else weird happened, and everyone needs to pay attention to this guy, okay? Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was mad that Donald Trump did not attack Iran. This guy never saw a war that he didn't like. Not once.
There are a lot of headlines out there that are, in my view, not accurate. President Trump's resolve is not the question. The question is, when we do an operation like this, should it be bigger or smaller? I'm in the camp of bigger. Time will tell. I'm hopeful and optimistic that the regime days are numbered.
It's not even about regime for Lindsey Graham. He's just a warmonger. He always has been. When I lived in South Carolina, I didn't understand why people continue to vote for him. This guy is absolutely horrible, right? But at the end of the day, this is all about money. It's not just was never about them caring about the Iranian people. They want to keep that money going, right? For the military industrial complex. That's why we say for the love of money. Interestingly enough, at the same time, there appeared to be an earthquake that happened in Israel, or was this nuclear testing? This was also shared. Oh my God. U.S. Geological Survey picks up earthquake in Israel in Naqab Desert area where the Nevatim Air Base is located, just north of Dimona, where Israel's nuclear program is. So this was reported as well, that there was some type of shaking going on. And it just happened to occur right about here, right here. So some were asking, was Israel testing nukes? We may never know. It would be pretty coincidental if there just happened to be an earthquake, right? And then there's this guy. You guys have got to see this guy. He is an exiled prince. I don't know if everybody's familiar with him. Reza Pahlavi. This guy kissing Donald Trump's ass, biggest sellout. We'll give him the biggest sellout award here, but he was exiled. He's been living in the United States. He's from a royal family. Listen to what he said. He wants this to happen. He wants Trump to come in and do these things.
To all of our friends around the world, under the yoke of the Islamic Republic, Iran is identified in your minds with terrorism, extremism, and poverty. The real Iran is a different Iran, a beautiful, peace-loving, and flourishing Iran. It is the Iran that existed before the Islamic Republic, and it is the Iran that will rise again from its ashes the day the Islamic Republic falls. So let me be clear about how a free Iran will act towards its neighbors and the world after the fall of this regime.
So you guys see what's happening here. And yes, uncivil unrest is correct. He did kiss the wall. I saw pictures of that as well. This guy is just a big puppet, right? Typically, again, like I said, one of the biggest sellouts of sellouts. So do you see how they're able to get people that are not Israel and the US are able to get people that are not from the US or not from Israel, but to work against their own country, to work against their own people? In fact, John Kiriakou laid out something pretty interesting about him. John Kiriakou was talking about this earlier. Again, I want you guys to hear about Reza Pahlavi. He is referred to as a Mossad agent. Listen to this.
Let's break it down. So Reza Pahlavi is the son of the Shah of Iran, who was thrown out of Iran in early 1979, February of 1979, came into exile briefly in the United States. That led to the Iran hostage crisis. Then we forced him out to the Bahamas and then to Panama and then to Egypt, and he died in Egypt. Reza Pahlavi is the son. He was a young guy when this happened. He was, a teenager. Well, now he's in his 60s, and he's never been to Iran since the 1970s. He's also something of a playboy in the Washington area. He's not a player in Iranian exile circles, but he seems to have a whole lot of money. Well, over the last couple of weeks, several things have happened. Number one, the Israeli government spilled the beans, and they admitted that they have been financing him. So is he a Mossad asset? You bet he's a Mossad asset. Mossad is saying it. Number two, he doesn't know anything about contemporary Iran. Patrick Bet-David, the big podcaster, invited Reza Pahlavi to go on his podcast a week ago. And Reza never called him back. Never even attempted to, get his name out there, get his picture out there, talk about his view of a future Iran. He's not interested. Donald Trump has been pressured by people on the neoconservative right to welcome Reza Pahlavi into the Oval Office. He would be the person that the United States would announce is going to be, the guy that we're interested in. And Trump said, no, he's not interested. I'm going to give you my own admittedly biased view. My own view is Reza Pahlavi is a joke. He's a caricature, a cartoon character. He lives in a mansion all by himself in Potomac, Maryland. Nobody pays any attention to him except these really rich Iranian exiles, most of whom are in Beverly Hills.
So again, like I said, if they ever created a real husband of, we have Real Housewives. If they ever created real husbands of Potomac, you would probably have Reza Pahlavi on there and Patrick Bet-David. So these Jews are sellouts. That's what they are. So this guy doesn't even live in Iran. Hasn't been there for years. But he's the one that is saying, yes, come on in and do these things, all for the love of money. And that's why I tell people, if you follow the money, you can get some of these answers that you may be looking for. And in fact, he was here with Lindsey Graham. I want to show you this as well. Here he is with Lindsey Graham. And I shared this on Twitter as well. And I was like, anytime Lindsey Graham shows up, this is not good. This is not good. Ryan Rosbiani, he's been sharing a lot about this. He said, Senator Lindsey Graham meets Reza Pahlavi, two clowns meeting, wake up Iranians. Yes, wake up. And then look at this, guys. They have the hats here. Make Iran great again. Both of them, one for him and one for Lindsey Graham. Listen to this.
Senator Lindsey Graham here with the Crown Prince of Iran. I have followed you, your passion, the way you articulate the hope of your people. It will be up to the people of Iran to pick their next leader. I can't wait till they have a chance to do that. But you are really risen to the occasion, compelling narrative for the long-suffering people of Iran. And I believe with all my heart that help is on the way.
Senator, Thank you so much for all your words of support for my compatriots in the darkest time in our history. But hopefully, as we say in Iran, in Farsi, the end of the dark night is light. And this is probably the first time we are so close to victory. You witnessed the resilience of my compatriots. They are fighting a brave fight, and any solidarity can only help them achieve that goal sooner. I've been committed to this all my life to serve my nation, and hopefully, as the senator just said, we hope that the Iranian people will this time have complete freedom, and the choice will be theirs. We are here to serve them to make that choice in freedom, and that's what my commitment. And thank you for your support, Senator.
Thank you. And
So he doesn't even live there. He doesn't even live there. So they find their puppets. They find a sellout, someone that's willing to sell out their own people and do the bidding of the West. And then they put this person on corporate media to convince everybody else, see, this guy is Iranian. See, he doesn't want this to happen. You know, they don't bring on, pay attention to who they bring on. You don't see Lindsey Graham sitting next to Professor Morandi. It's like, it's so obvious. Nevertheless, the attack didn't happen, but it does lead me to think that something is still going to happen at some point. I think at some point, you know, for me, Donald Trump could still plan to attack them at some point. Don't know. We do know that Israel does want to attack Iran. It's going to happen again eventually at some point. But at the same time, you have this guy working along with Lindsey Graham. There are bigger motives here. I don't think it's just about attacking Iran. I don't think it's just about the oil. I think it is about complete restructure. Who knows? Maybe they may try to find a way, once they overthrow the regime, to restructure Iran in a way where people are separated along ethnic lines. You never know. Whatever works for them. And I would also caution everyone to pay attention to Pakistan as well, because they're not out of the woods yet either. They're not out of the woods. So crazy things are happening, but something very telling about this was the fact that Donald Trump did cave. He caved to Iran, and he was talking, you know, all big and tough. And then in the final hour, he decided not to. Now, he could still attack. I'm cautioning everybody about this. I don't know. Maybe that could be part of the plan, to make them think I'm going to, and then to pull back and then do it when they least expect it. But I can guarantee you, and I can pretty much promise you, that it won't end up good for either party. We cannot go to war with Iran. That won't turn out good for anyone. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.